Hey, Countdown City Geeks. Hey, we're back. Me and Nasser. We got an awesome guest today. Um, are you excited, Nasser?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, but yeah, I'm excited too.
I'm more nervous than I am. I can be honest with you right now. If you guys don't know Marv Wolfman, I don't know where you've been. This gentleman has worked in the industry. He has given us characters that we are seeing in the big screen currently, from TVs to movies. Iconic characters from the Titans, to Blade, Infinite Crisis. I mean, the list goes on. Fantastic Four,
Hmm.
Nightwing, um, but we've got to give a shout out to our local friends, of course, Nasser and Dragon's Lair. Let's give a quick shout out to Dragon's Lair Alamo Ranch. Hey guys, if you want to get comics, this is where you want to go. Pick up your graphic novels, especially these things that we're going to be talking about shortly. If you haven't read any of this stuff, this is where you want to go to get either the graphic novel so you can get your hands on it and read it. This is also good for gaming. And then Nasser's putting on a show in San Antonio, and that's going to be pretty awesome because he's bringing, legends, independents to San Antonio where you can meet them. You want to give a shout out at Nasser?
Yeah, definitely. So as you can see there on the screen, our show, that's our fourth annual show, will be November 15th. It's going to be at the Red Oak Ballroom at the Norris Conference Center. If you're familiar with where the Alamo Draft House at Park North is, right there at San Pedro and 410, Blanco and 410, the Red Oak Ballroom is right under the Alamo Draft House. So we've got nearly 100 comic book writers and artists. I always tell people there's no wrestlers, no actors. It's all comic books and all comic book creators.
Nice. Well, let's not wait any longer. Let's get the legend in the room and get to start talking to Marv. Good afternoon, Marv.
Good afternoon.
How have you been, man?
Pretty good. Taking it easy, just handed in an assignment, so I was very happy. And finished my graphic novel, which is being drawn right now, and it'll probably be out next year or so, because it's about 250 pages, and I wrote the
Yeah.
full script.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Are you able
It
to give us any details about that, or is that still under wraps?
It's what I will say. It's an all ages graphic novel, as I say, 250 pages or so. And it's adventure, it's science fiction, it's funny.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of stuff. It was something I've been wanting to do for a long time and wrote the original concepts for it years ago and finally came back to it to complete it.
That's great.
So, are you able to tell us who the artist is anyway, by any chance?
You would know he's a Spanish artist,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so but he's very good.
All
The
right.
pages I've seen so far have been very good.
All right.
nice.
I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. This year at our show, we're actually trying to bring in more all ages and middle grade readers because we see a lot of growth in that section of the
I think it's
audience.
important. If you don't get readers into comics early on, they won't be reading it later.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to show them how good comics are starting now when they're younger, and then they could upgrade their comics to more an adult things as they reach
Hmm.
adulthood.
Yeah, and
Nice.
that's really what they were aimed towards before. It was always an 8 to 10 year old, something like that, where comics were aimed before.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then one of the questions I was going to ask, what if people don't realize or people don't know, Superman was your first introduction to comics, and that's where you started off with your love for comics. A lot of stuff that I've noticed in interviews. At what age did you get into writing for the industry? Because at that time, the way people got in is not the way people get in now. What was it that really got your foot in the door to work with DC and Marvel?
Oh, I always wanted to be a comic artist, and I went to the High School of Art and Design to become one, and I graduated college with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree.
Oh wow.
But I found in working with my stuff, working with trying to write a story to draw, my stories were able to do what I wanted them to do, but my art didn't. My art just wasn't up there enough to become a full-time professional. Of course, comic book art is really hard. You know, most artists, if you're an illustrator, you draw one picture. Here you're drawing 5, 6 pictures per page, every single page. Every panel has to be perfectly constructed, and every panel has to be constructed so that it works with the panels around it. It's a very difficult assignment, and you have to be really good and you have to be really fast. And I was not quite either. But I found that the writing of the comics fulfilled me more because I was able to see what I wanted to do and have it realized, which I never would have been able to do with art.
Wow, that is crazy.
And speaking of art, Marv, I've heard the stories about you and Len Wein going over to Jack Kirby's house and watching him draw. How did those visits come about?
I forget. It's been like
Yeah, I'm
70
sure.
years or so. Well, somehow we knew Jack. I forget how. Maybe we met him someplace, and they invited. And Jack and his wife Rosalind, were just wonderful people, and they always invited people over to the house. And when we get there, she would say, "Before I take you down to Jack's studio, I'm going to make lunch for you. You have to have lunch." And we'd have lunch, and then we'd come downstairs, and Jack was working at his desk, and it was unbelievable because the artwork was so beautiful.
That's amazing.
I mean, I can only imagine in my head. For us, me and Nasser love art. We love comics. I mean, that is our love in general. And when I get to meet a legend that I love their artwork, it's kind of hard. I get goosebumps at a moment because it's like other people it's movie stars who get them hyped up or whatever and geeking out. But you guys, without you, Marv, and George Pérez, we wouldn't have Nightwing. We wouldn't have Titans on HBO. We wouldn't have Blade, in the movies. And to be honest with you, between me, I feel in my heart that if Blade hadn't come out first, don't get me wrong, we had Superman, but I think Blade opened the door for Spider-Man, X-Men, and to come out in the movies because I feel that's what opened the door for everything.
He was a good character and was able to be done on a good budget back then, which is important. Superhero movies were so special effects oriented that the really good characters that you love would be really hard to do, if at all. And Blade showed that there was a way to make money on a low budget movie, and they did it fairly well. I mean, it wasn't that low a budget, but it was a fairly low budget compared to, say, what the Fantastic Four would be today.
Yeah, that is true.
Interestingly, before we move on, considering that the Fantastic Four movie just came out, I think I've been saying this for years. I can't be 100% positive because unfortunately everyone else has passed away, and so it's just my memory. But one of the times we visited Jack's house, he was working on Galactus. He was working on the first Galactus story. So we got to see this character before we even knew anything about it.
That's amazing.
I'm pretty sure it was. I could be wrong. But either way, we went there a lot of times, and as we grew older, we became good friends with him and his family, and they would come to our parties, and we'd go to theirs.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up, Nasser beat me to it. How was it, sir, getting to be on the red carpet with James Gunn, bringing Superman with this reboot? And James Gunn, I feel, there's mixed reviews online about this, but to me, that's what Superman has always been in the comic world, the way he was portrayed in this movie.
Absolutely.
And not only that, your character that you created, Cat Grant, was in this movie as well. You are living the dream with these iconic characters that are on the big screen currently. Cat Grant, the Violator, Vigilante on Peacemaker. I mean, that character I didn't read. That was before my time in reading comics. I didn't get into the early 90s. And
what was pretty incredible, if you think about it, that 2 weeks ago I had two characters who in the movies at the same time, because we had Vigilante and we had Cat Grant.
Yeah, dude, I geek out because I didn't know much about Vigilante, and when he came out in Peacemaker, I didn't like Peacemaker either. And John Cena, what he bought to the character and Vigilante, made me want to go back and actually get those comics to read about them because I didn't know about them at that time. Because there's comics are huge. You spend a lot of time trying to research all these comics. I mean, these characters because there's big ones and there's I mean, they weren't big characters. Like Vigilante wasn't really huge. He's no Superman, but now the way they made him in the show, you want to know who he is because to me, I feel he kicks butt and he's a badass. But
I really like Vigilante. Of course, the TV version is a little bit more
Yeah.
comedic because that's the type of show it is. But I really liked Vigilante, and I wrote him for a number of years. And I wish that I had been able to continue doing it, but I had to go off to Crisis.
oh, that's another thing. I mean, we can go on there. I'll let you go first, Dan. Answer before I even get into the TV show Flash and all that. But I'll let you ask your question next.
Well, I was just asking about Vigilante. During that time period, we see in pop culture there was a lot of stuff like the Death Wish movies and vigilanteism and stuff. Is that where he was kind of born out of, or was that an idea that you had even before that was coming out in pop culture?
It was an idea that I came up with while I was writing Daredevil at Marvel.
Okay.
Because I had the soul Vigilante then, obviously. But there's an issue of Daredevil that he's fighting. I think he's fighting Bullseye, and the fight goes across the city and into a house, into a woman's house who freaks out. She freaks out completely by it because these two characters are just beating each other up, constantly destroying the entire house. And Daredevil, when the fight ends, Daredevil just looks at the wreck that they caused and went, no, he couldn't deal with that anymore. And I kept going, this is a good idea of a character who, in trying to help people, creates more damage because the collateral damage is there all the time. And they have to realize that they can be making situations worse. So when I got a chance to create Vigilante, I used that as the concept for the
Okay.
That is crazy. So getting back to the Crisis, of course, people, if you didn't watch Flash and you didn't watch Supergirl, Arrow, Marv makes a great appearance. He gets to be on the set. How was it, sir, being on the set and getting to be like, hey, make it out to Marv, M-A-R-V. How was it filming that scene?
It was great. They flew me up to Vancouver, which is where the show was filmed. And it was very scary because I do not have a very good memory for that sort of stuff. And I kept rehearsing like for 2 weeks. I was constantly doing it because my memory is not that good. As I say, I'm not joking. And I never got it right. Because they wrote the speech. I didn't. They wrote all my dialogue. I never got it right. I kept doing it while I was waiting to be called up to the area to be filmed. I was still doing it, and I did it, and it was the only time I got it correct was when I was being filmed. I didn't make any mistakes with it, and I was so happy that I actually was able to do it.
See, when it came down to it, sir, you were able to perform the clutch. There you go.
Yeah, I'm still shocked because afterwards I couldn't do it. I tried again, just on my own, and I couldn't do it. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. Both Grant and
Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa were very nice, and they posted the photos and everything. And of course, they're on a set, so they don't normally get asked to do that. It's probably even against union rules, but I wasn't part of the union, so I didn't care.
So, getting back to that, so you did write an episode of part of that Crisis, right?
I co-wrote,
okay. Yeah. So, getting to co-write that, I mean, and then I can go everywhere in this because you also, if people didn't know, I'm a Transformer fan, and you were part of the return of Optimus Prime after he had gotten killed off in the movies. And, and there's,
Right,
I
right.
didn't know this until way, way later. And you did it because everybody was mad because he got killed off in the movie. How was it?
Well, they
Yeah,
weren't
they
mad
were
at
mad at
me
you.
for killing off Optimus Prime because I wasn't there at the time. Somebody else wrote those stories. But they asked me, because I was the last of the story editors still working on the last few episodes of the show for that season. They asked me to bring them back and use all the Optimus characters, all the Transformer characters. And so I had to quickly study up on every single one of the characters, and it worked out really well.
No, it did. I mean, that's why I said you have influenced my childhood in so many ways. But then, the other question I was going to ask you, because of course we talked about Blade being the first Marvel movie, and I have two photos. The first one I'm going to bring up is you, the first time you being on set. How was it being right there next to Wesley Snipes in the outfit, getting to see him act out that character you created?
Yeah, I was on the set during the blood rain, and the set. I mean, it was so sticky because of whatever chemicals they used was. But one of the Marvel reps brought him over to me, and he was. It was a day that there was also a lot of press there. So he just said, "This is Marv Wolfman," and we talked for a little bit, and he was sort of like professional, totally professional, because he probably answered five other reporters' questions before he got to me, and I said, I created Blade." And he went, and then he totally changed to incredibly friendly, really wonderful, because you get asked the same questions all the time, and you get tired of repeating yourself endlessly. But in this case, once I said that, he realized he had questions to ask me, and that worked out beautifully. His first question was Blade black in the comics, or did we just change it for this? And I had brought some comics to show him, and I said, no, he was black from day one. I created him to be a black character, and he was so thankful for that, and he was so nice, incredibly nice. I met him again a couple of years later at the Stan Lee Memorial, and we talked for a little bit, and he was still incredible.
Yeah, nice. That's the other photo I was going to bring up. I don't think this is the memorial, but I don't know where this one's from, but this is the both of you together. I mean, that is just awesome, sir. I can't. I'm at a loss for words on that.
Well, as you mentioned, that's what I'm always worried about with these interviews. Like, you get asked the same questions all the time. So I don't want to bore the guest, but at the same time, I have these questions that I've been thinking about forever. So.
Well, so far you haven't actually asked me anything I've been asked before.
Oh,
so
okay, cool.
Fine.
Oh,
good
wow.
to know. Well, speaking of your writing, your TV writing, sir, one of the other things that people might not be aware of that I loved and was part of my childhood was the Ruby Spears Superman. I loved that cartoon so much, and there were as I got older, I was able to recognize so many of the influences of the Fleischer cartoons and the Golden Age comics and so much stuff. So,
right. I was story editor for that show, as well as wrote a number of episodes. But primarily my time was spent as story editor. Of course, we had so many episodes to do very quickly, so I had to work with a lot of different writers. I loved the show. I went in it trying to do the Fleischer cartoons up to date, and also knowing that we couldn't quite do it as silent as they do, because times have changed, and CBS didn't want that. They didn't think we could do it. But all the comments that we got on the show from long-term people recognized the fact that we were certainly influenced by the Fleischer.
Yeah, there were even a couple, if people are fans of the Fleischer, where you'll notice like scenes that were taken from the Fleischer, where he protects himself with his cape or things like that, and that I really appreciated.
Oh. Yeah, well, the idea was to go back with the Fleischer cartoons are the best superheroes cartoons ever
Yeah, I
done,
love those.
in many ways. In many
Uh-huh.
ways.
And the other question I was going to ask, because this is something that, so they paid tribute to you and George, and in this issue, when I got to the page, it gave me goosebumps when I got to it, when I finally got to read it. Um,
Which book are you talking about?
Nightwing, where they did, yeah.
Oh,
So
okay, right.
where you,
Okay, the pizza store.
yes, that one. I was like, I was, it just is so cool. You see the restaurant, you see George Pérez and everything, and you guys at the restaurant, and it says Marv and George's Pizza. I was like, that's just it hits the feels, and then
Yeah, Tom was great. He asked if it would be okay. He didn't want to offend me or anything, and I said that would be fine, and certainly because of he didn't tell me about that I was in it. He asked if it was you think it was okay that for George, and I figured it was a tribute to George. And then we see the cartoon, and we realize it was to both of us, and that was so wonderful. But George had just passed away, so I definitely assumed this was for him because I would have done
yeah,
that.
and it was beautiful. I mean, there's a picture where you're talking to both of you, you're hugging, and in the back you see George's picture. Goosebumps
Yeah.
all the way. Such a
And
great read.
and George is at the window serving the pizzas. So are you in the back making them, Marv? Or
I was eating them.
Oh, that is freaking awesome. See, this is the part that we are wanting. This is why me and NASA are doing what we're doing, is because NASA putting on a show for the independent writers, the up and coming artists, up and coming writers, and legends like you. For fans who don't know you guys, have a chance to meet you guys and meet the up and comers, because without you, George, Stan, Jim Shooter, without you guys, we wouldn't be where we're at currently in the comic industry. Because you guys were the
Thank you.
backbone. You guys were the backbone for the industry, and
Thank you.
kept it going.
yeah, and at one point you were a young up and comer just trying to make it, right? So hopefully people can find their next favorite comic book writer or artist.
Yeah, there's so many comics being produced these days, and most of them are actually creator comics, creator-owned comics, which means they're writing exactly what they want 100%. We didn't have those back when I was doing all the work, but I got to do the characters I loved the way I thought they should be done.
Yeah.
But only now, that's why I'm doing that graphic novel, and I've done other stuff that I can be in charge of at this point.
Well, that's what I was going to ask,
And
Marv.
I still do occasional, story for DC and Marvel, but I'm also doing the original stuff.
That's what I was going to ask. The upcoming graphic novel, is that your first creator-owned, or is there other stuff out there we can look for?
I did one back in the 90s, which you probably couldn't find today, and it was straight on. I was writing it thinking of Image, which was just coming out, and this very high testosterone type of book called Man Called Axe, which I really loved. But this is the first time I'm doing. I have always wanted to do a YA all ages book, because I used to be a story editor at Disney doing all their characters, and I really love writing those things. And I really love writing for the younger audience. As I said earlier, if you could get the younger audience to start reading comics, they'll stay with comics as the comics get older, and they get older as well.
Yeah.
And I really want to pay that forward to the industry by getting people interested in comics now when they're younger.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you definitely did that. I mean, when you created the Titans, if you didn't know, George and Marv are the men behind this, which you got Tiny Titans. You created a whole new set of characters here that are still going to this day. And even the cartoons are huge right now. Even the adults love Tiny Titans. I mean, it's just because it's a fun show to watch. And the way you said you created Beast Boy was to be kind of the comedic character for the team, and they portray it on the series, the cartoons and stuff, and it's so cool. Even in even in the HBO series, he had his little comedic stuff there as well. So
Yeah.
when you create, like, this is one of the things I ask writers. Like, every writer has a way of their writing. People writing notepads, people writing, iPhones now, or voice memos. Um, what is your routine? Is it like if you're sleeping and you get a dream, do you like get up and then write down like, hey, I have an idea here. I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget it.
I have done that because if I don't, I'll forget it when I wake up. Um, uh, I have done that. I try not to do anything repeatedly the same. I always change the way I enter a story. Sometimes I'll plot it first. Sometimes I'll start dialoguing. Sometimes I will just start creating scenes. You know, I will try to come up with different ways because that keeps me excited.
Wow.
If I keep doing the same thing, it gets boring after a while. So what I like to do is change my process every so often.
Wow. That's cool.
And if you weren't writing comics, Marv, what do you think you would be doing?
Um, I didn't have a plan B,
Well,
so
good
I
thing
have.
this worked out.
I'd be selling flowers on an expressway someplace. I don't know. The only thing I'm good for is writing comics.
No, I mean, you've done other stuff. I mean, like I said, these characters that you have come up with, and I can keep on going on and keep on just preaching. Um, Deathstroke, that's another one. I mean, coming up with that character. Um, and the Nightwing character itself has blown up so huge from transitioning from the Titans to now in his own books. I mean, did you ever picture that's where Nightwing was going to gravitate towards? Like, he was going to get that big and get that big of a following?
You know, when I started with the Titans, the previous generation was about 14, I think, for Robin. Um, as soon as I took them over, the characters became 18 and 19. So I always believed in aging the characters because as you age them, you can write more serious stories. You can write stories that get more into depth, and also the readers are getting older, and they don't want to read the same stuff that they read when they were 14. That's why you have other books. That's why you have the young kids' books. So 14-year-olds can find those books, but I want 25-year-olds to also read the comics, and I want to write stories made for them as well, and the 35s, and et cetera, et cetera. So, yes, I always expected Nightwing will continue to age, as will all the characters, which is why I made him older, and Donna and Cyborg were the oldest members of the group. And they were all about to turn 20. And I think that we got there at the very end.
Wow. That is just crazy. And
well, then, speaking of age, that reminds me of your Amazing Spider-Man run.
oh yeah.
So during that time, is Peter a stand-in for you and what you're going through at that time? Because a lot of was going on with Peter. You got rid of Mary Jane, take her out of the picture. So Betty comes back into the picture. He gets a new apartment, all kinds of stuff.
Now, my feeling was that Peter Parker was made as being a loser type character, someone who constantly screws himself over because he has a very bad attitude in many ways. He, and if you give him a girlfriend who looks like a supermodel, he's not a loser no matter what you say. He's no longer that character. He's a different character, and I didn't want to be writing a Spider-Man where he was the greatest thing on campus. I wanted to write a character who, even in college, had to work very hard to make things work for him because he's just screws up too much.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there definitely was a lot of that because I remember his apartment skylight crashes in on him because he leaves it open, and like I said, then he gets involved with Betty.
And he didn't graduate college because he missed the gym class,
a P
which
credit,
was the stupidest class you could possibly miss. And it was, to me, that was typical of Peter Parker. He could do everything, and this guy who's stronger than anything and does all these other physical things flunks out of gym. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, the Parker Luck, right?
Yeah.
Wow. And the other question I was going to ask you was, so when you got invited to Superman, mind you, you're going as a guest and you're watching this movie. What was your thoughts walking out of the theater? Crypto had me at the trailer. That alone had me. But you watching this, because mind you, we've had different versions of Superman throughout the years. How did you feel walking out of this movie?
I thought they finally did it right.
Wow.
I loved the first Superman movie back in, Christopher Reeve was the most incredible actor for that. He's still not beaten, as far as though David's is incredibly good. He's probably edging right up to the Chris Reeve area because he's so good in this. But the problem with the first Superman movie is Luthor. He becomes funny. The villain becomes funny. So does Otis. They're all comedy relief. And that's not, if you have a villain who's funny, he's no longer villain. He's just silly. He's just ridiculous. Luthor in this movie was the perfect villain. David's work on the Superman was absolutely on target. It was perfect. So I walked out of the thinking they did it right. I was pleased, really pleased.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of your Luthor in this Luthor, that he was extremely smart, that he was going to use his smarts and his technology to try to beat Superman, because there's no way Luthor can stand up to Superman physically.
Precisely.
So, yeah.
That's why I made Luthor's power, he's the smartest man in the world.
Yeah, and that definitely came across in the movie. The way he's yelling out moves because he's anticipating what's coming next. I really saw a lot of your Superman. I'm sorry, your Luthor.
Yeah, and I saw chess moves.
My version of Luthor is the most clearly described in the graphic novel I did a few years ago called Man and Superman. To me, that's my best handling of Luthor and the clearest way of handling Superman and Luthor and Lois.
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. I've been a Superman fan. Like you can tell, I have my Funko Pop of the Christopher Reeve and Lois flying, and then I also have my Supergirl from the TV show pop up there as well. I've always loved Supergirl, and I feel when they brought it to the TV show, they did great. I'm interested to see what we're going to get in the new Supergirl movie. I've always been a fan of hers. Kingdom Come has always been an awesome book too. I read, but Christopher Reeve, like you said, it was Christopher Reeve's Superman, and then of course we had '89 Batman, and then Blade. And to me, those are my first three iconic superhero movies. To this day, are my favorite. That like I said, I have in my room my poster of Blade, my Superman stuff. I mean, to me, that's what got me into the movie industry part of it, and also gravitated me towards the comics.
And Marv, we keep going across your vast works that you've done and so many things that you work on. Is there something that you can point to as the work that you're most proud of?
Really, I can't, because the closest to that would be the Man and Superman graphic novel that came out last year. But it's hard for me to do that because I know all the problems in writing and working out the story. I know all of that stuff. So, I'm happy with most of the stuff, but I couldn't tell you if this is better than this is better. That's really up to the readers also. And it's very possible for me to love something that the readers hate. So it's not a real fair thing.
Yeah. So your new book, are you planning? Do you already have a publisher that's going to be publishing it, and where fans can look forward to it?
Rocket Ship Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
They do a lot of graphic novels.
Oh, nice. Okay. Is that going to be something that we're going to get more publicity on as it's going to get closer to drop, kind of thing?
Yeah, they'll do it starting, I think, in a couple of months to build it up. but there's no reason to do it until I finish the script, because
Hmm.
and the artist was like at least halfway through it, because you don't want to
Gotcha.
tell people on Kickstarter or something that something is coming out and you should pay now and it won't come out for 3 years. So we
True.
determined that first I would write the entire script, and when the artist hit about page 100 or so, we'd announce it then, and he's just about closing in on 100. So
Okay.
Wow.
hopefully we'll announce it in the next few months. We'll see.
Okay.
Sweet.
I'll definitely be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think it's listed on their website. You may have to search for it, but I think it may be on the website.
Okay.
Rocket Ship
Oh, sweet.
Entertainment or Rocket.
And do you
Definitely,
still
I'll
do
definitely-
cons, Marv, like, especially with a new book coming?
I will be doing more. I haven't done San Diego or other stuff this year because of health reasons, but I'm hoping to go back. I did do Ontario, California,
Okay.
a couple of months ago because it's driving distance from the house,
Yeah, okay.
and I couldn't do San Diego because, quite frankly, there's just too much walking, and I can't really do that right now.
Yeah, okay.
So hopefully by next year I can be back on the circuit.
Okay.
So I have to ask, have you ever been to San Antonio?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I think about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Noel comes from San Antonio. Her parents
Oh,
live in
really?
San Antonio. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
oh,
All right.
dang! I did not know this.
Well, then maybe off camera we'll talk about bringing you back and see how that we can make that happen.
It's been a while. It may have been longer than 5 years. I don't remember because COVID threw all my time sense off.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea what anything is anymore.
Yeah.
Well, Marv, we don't want to take any more of your time up. We do appreciate you taking the time to come on Countdown to the Geeks,
My
and
pleasure.
talking about your career and talking about all these characters that you've created. And your new book, we'll be promoting it as well as soon as we get more information. And again, thank you, sir,
It
for
could be
everything you've done.
mentioned. You can mention it because I just did.